Well, good evening, everybody. Hey, this is Eric Sean Bowman, and I am going to do my tech tool review for, I believe this is week 5. So let's get started. So my tech tool is going to be the GHS Label Generator. And what it is, it's a globally harmonized system of classification and labeling of chemicals. It's internationally recognized and it is overseen by the United Nations. It was developed to actually streamline and standardize classification and labeling of hazard chemicals worldwide. The primary goal of the GHS system was to enhance safety and reduce compliance costs by providing a universal framework for the hazard communication. So let's get into this. So it's a technology-based goals. And I always used to say knowledge is power. And then I found out that Albert Einstein used to say the only source of knowledge is experience. And that really resonated with me in my job and my experiences throughout my jobs. I absolutely believe that the experience is very powerful and it is an asset to book knowledge. So here you see real world and effective research. 1.3D, Explore Real World Issues, is where the students build knowledge by actively exploring real world issues and problems, developing ideas and theories, and pursuing answers and solutions. So we believe that this was really effective using this tool. And then the 1.3A, Effective Research Strategies, that is where students plan and employ effective research strategies to locate information and other resources for their intellectual or creative pursuits. Well, in the research, we use the ERG, so the Emergency Response Guide, and that's where you would find that research and information that goes along with labeling chemicals. So you have the 1.3 knowledge constructor, and then you have the 1.4 for the innovative design. So the innovative design, we had two that we used in here. And the first one we used with the 1.4A, the design process. Students know and use a deliberate design process for generating ideas, testing theories, creating innovative artifacts, and solving authentic problems. Well, we believe that this was part of our GHS labeling generator because it is a deliberate design process. The generating of ideas is how you pick to make the label, and you can kind of be creative in that. And then you actually create a label so you have an artifact that you solve a problem, an authentic problem, by placing this label on an unknown chemical or a chemical you do know to keep it from becoming an unknown chemical. Then 1.4b, the design constraints, the GHS labeler generator, it already has constraints built into it. So it really fit with the design constraints of the ISTE standards, where students select and use digital tools to plan and manage a design process that considers the design constraints and calculated risks. That is built into the label generator. And we felt like that it really answered that ISTE question. Okay, so that's about the ISTE standards for students. And then let's get into the safety data sheets. So chemical safety and hazard communication. This YouTube link, you can click on it, and when you click on it, it'll take you to a video, and it goes through safety data sheets, and it starts talking about chemical hazards, methods of entry into the body, and written hazard communication program. So I'll just touch on those topics. I'm not going to click on that because it stopped my video in previous tries in doing this. So let's get into the chemical hazards. So chemical hazards, they're all different subjects here. So you got toxic, carcinogenic, corrosive, and irritants, sensitizers, flammable, and combustible liquids. Those are some of the general ones that labels are made for the chemical hazards. The methods of entry to the body is just like any other class that you would take. You got inhalation, absorption, ingestion. So you're either taking it through breathing, or you're coming in contact with it with your skin or your hands, or you are actually eating or drinking the chemical. Now people kind of laugh, well, who would eat or drink a chemical? Well, for instance, in my experience, I have ran on children that actually drank antifreeze. They thought that it was a Mountain Dew because it was similar in color. It tasted sweet, and they did not know any better, so they drank this liquid that was put in an unlabeled container, thinking it was a pop, and it was actually antifreeze. And that could be deadly to children. It certainly is deadly to dogs. So if you have a dog that chews on a rag that was soaked in antifreeze and stuff, it's a very painful death for them, and it's horrible to see someone go through, or an animal go through. Okay, now the written hazard communication program. So here there are more requirements, but these are the three priority requirements. How chemical hazards are handled on the job site, that has to be answered. And they have to provide a list of all the chemical hazards at the workplace to the employees that are working around those hazards. And also they have to communicate safety information through properly labeled containers and safety data sheets. So not only are the safety data sheets mandatory, but so are labeled containers. And OSHA will actually come in and cite a business if they do not have labels on containers. And the rule to that is that if you have a chemical that was transferred to a different container and you're not going to use that by the end of the day, or it's going to be put down where other people may use it, then that's where it has to have a label. If it's not emptied by the end of the day, it has to have a label. It cannot go past one job period. Okay. So if you really want to get some more information, go click on that YouTube there, and you'll get a little short video. I think it's 6 or 7 minutes. All right. The next thing we'll go into is the GHS label system itself. So this is understanding the GHS labeling system, and then you have a link outside the GH history here. You can click on that, and it'll give you the timelines that are mentioned here. It talks about 1983, how OSHA published the hazard communication standard. So they come up with this hazard communication standard, and everybody just did whatever they wanted in any way they wanted. And it became very difficult to really understand what everybody was doing. So it went on for quite a long time. I think 29 years or something like that. So you got 29 years, and then in 2012, which really, if you think about it, was not that long ago, and OSHA decided to publish a revised hazard communication standard, which was the GHS. And it started being used worldwide. It's backed by the United Nations. So it wasn't just something local here, it was global. And that was remarkable that everybody bought into it, because everybody, in every part of the world want their people to be safe. And so that's when it came out with this 2000 now in the United States. So the system comes out in 2012, and then in 2013, they said, okay, by 2013, you have 1 year to train all your employees on this new labeling system. And then they said, okay, everybody's trained in 2013. Now you have to rewrite and update your HAZCOM program. And that HAZCOM program has to follow suit with the labeling system. So they gave them, 3 years. And it's been like that now for 8 years. And there are thousands and thousands and millions of chemicals, and there are still thousands of chemicals that are being created on a daily basis. So the GHS tool itself, when you click on the link that's provided outside of the previous slide, you'll see that it has 5 steps for you to go through. So you click on that link, it takes you right to it. You select the chemical that you're going to be using. You choose the hazard statements. In most cases, it'll already have those chosen. You just go through and verify that those are the correct statements you want to use. Step 3, you can put any additional statement details into that you choose. And step 4, you enter the supplier information. So who is supplying this chemical to you? And then step 5, you review what you put down. You select what size label you want. You check the acknowledge box at the bottom, and then you just generate your label. So it's a pretty simple process, and it's free. You could use this at home as well as on the job. So it keeps it real world and it makes it very engaging and practical for people to understand and go through this process. They get kind of excited like, man, I can go home and I could actually make some labels for the bottles that I don't have. It looks professional. And to me, I'm a little bit of a safety geek, but that really makes me proud. So I love it. Okay. So, well, everybody, that is a very brief view of the labeling and safety data sheet class, with some of the highlights of the topics that will be covered in that class. The GH Label Generator is one of the several technology tools that can be used on the job or at a personal residence. I want to thank you for your time and consideration. I am Sean Bowman with Sean for Safety. I always say be safe and remember applied knowledge is true power. Please leave a comment or ask a question. Goodbye for now.